Wow, thank you so much. Amazing. Wow, there's a lot of people over there. Hi, welcome. If you just arrived recently, welcome, welcome home. Friends, this is a great day to be alive, isn't it? Yeah! Woo! This is the best day ever, 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 ever. So this month, October, we have been exploring our Seed of Awakening for the month, which is Creating Affluence. And we've been following this wonderful book by Deepak Chopra with the same title, Creating Affluence, and it's the A to Z steps to a richer life. And this book has been so much fun. First of all, it's very thin. I love the thin books. You know, you can read it in an hour. And then the invitation was to read it at the beginning of the month all the way through and then read a few pages a day throughout the month and then, keeps going back and starting over because Deepak is telling us and inviting us to consider this idea that we're reading and learning and our consciousness actually needs to metabolize what we're reading. And so that's another word, hi Shelley B, for integrating. And so we're actually having time and the opportunity to integrate it, yes? It's like whenever you learn something new, you need to take this time to actually use it in your life. And so far this month, we've discussed the different steps to affluence in a more or less materialistic sense. And we're invited this week to remember that material wealth or money is merely one means to the spontaneous fulfillment of our desires. Now, I know, and I can tell just by looking at you, that you are all open to the spontaneous fulfillment of your desires. Am I right? Okay, thank you. So affluence or wealth, as a reminder, means that one is easily able to fulfill one's desires, whatever they may be, whether they apply to the material realm or to the emotional, psychological, or spiritual needs, or to the realm of relationship. A truly wealthy person's attention is never focused on money alone. Moreover, a wealthy person never has money concerns. You may have millions of dollars in the bank, but if you think all the time about money, if you have concerns about it, or if you worry about it a lot, about getting more, about not having enough, about losing it, then irrespective of the dollar amount you possess, you are poor in spirit, right? Now, the call for us this month is to have a wealth mindset, and remembering that the state of affluence is a mindset that we are stepping into and embodying, and it's like the kingdom of heaven, right? Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven within, and all things will be added unto you. Change your thinking, change your life. Be open to the possibility of changing your entire life by changing your mind. That means the kingdom of heaven within you, right? Be open to that. Seek that and allow everything to unfold. You are a mighty money magnet. Remember, that was last week. How many of you used that affirmation this week? I'm a mighty money magnet. All right. Doesn't it feel good? Okay, if you weren't here, we're going to try it. So you can repeat after me. I'm a mighty money magnet. I'm a mighty money magnet. I'm a mighty money magnet. Something about just saying that makes me feel giddy, right? Isn't it right? It's like this energy comes up. And we are in this energy of being open and receptive to our good, whether it be money or love or wholeness, perfect health, relationship, expanding relationship, rekindling relationship, forgiveness, all of it. Yes, and it's all of that. And so this true wealth consciousness is a consciousness of the source of all material reality. So we began the month looking at how the source of all abundance and our focus on the source of all abundance, which means spirit, divine, whatever you choose to call it, the Buddha, Allah, Muhammad, the truth, the way, the universe, the thing itself, source energy, et cetera, right? You get the point. Whatever you're calling that, place your attention on that. Find that in everything, whatever that thing means to you, right? Reverend Diane prayed about it in the beginning of this service. She spoke of love, and it's that love, love as a synonym for source. And so whatever it is that we call it, we can focus on it and remember that we can't actually name it. It's like the Tao that can be spoken is not the real Tao. So I come up here on Sundays and try to describe it and explain it and talk about it. And at the same time, you and I both know that it's a presence that is beyond the words that I'm speaking, right? And it's personal to each of you. It's personal to each of you. And it's the same presence that is in all of us, but we each have this opportunity for an individualized relationship that is personal with the God of our understanding. And that is so important, so important. So wealth is a mindset to move through the world. Now we put the mindset to practice, and we can be diligent about it, and all these things shall be added to us. That's Matthew 6:33 in the Bible. And so I've really been pondering in the last few days this sentence. It's not I'll believe it when I see it, it's I'll see it when I believe it. That alone could be the whole sermon, And so it is. We're done here. Enjoy your coffee. It's not I'll believe it when I see it, but I'll see it when I believe it. Wow. That really speaks to this whole idea of our mindset. So our mindset matters. Who we are being, when we are being it, where we are being it, matters. And so I love this story of an old legend of the Middle Ages that is very instructive. It's a little bit archaic, but it seems that a citizen was arrested by one of the barons and shut up in a dungeon in his castle. Now he was taken down these dark stairs, down, by a ferocious-looking jailer, if you can imagine, who carried a great key, a foot long. That's a huge key. The long door of a cell was opened for him, and he was thrust into this dark hole. And then the door shut with a bang, and there he was. He lay in this dark dungeon for 20 years. Each day the jailer would come, the big door would be open with a great creaking and groaning, and a pitcher of water and a loaf of bread would be thrust in the door, and then it was closed again. Well, after 20 years, the prisoner decided he couldn't stand it any longer. He felt that he wanted to die, but he didn't want to commit suicide, so he decided the next day when the jailer came in, he was going to attack him. And the jailer would then have to kill him in self-defense. And so his misery would finally be at an end. He thought he would examine the door carefully first so he could be quite ready for tomorrow and when they came in. And so going over, he caught the handle of the door and turned it. To his amazement, the door opened. And upon investigation, he found that there was no lock upon it. And there never had been a lock. And that for all of those 20 years, he wasn't locked in except in his own belief. At any time in that period, he could have opened the door if only he had known it. He thought it was locked, but it was not. He groped along the corridor and felt his way upstairs. At the top of the stairs, there were two soldiers chatting, and they made no attempt to stop him. None. He crossed the great yard without attracting any attention. There was an armed guard at the drawbridge at the great gate, but they paid no attention to him. He walked out a free man. Wow. He went home unmolested and lived happily ever after. Now, he could have done this at any time through those long years, 20 years, he could have done it at any time since his arrest had he known enough. But he didn't. He didn't know. So he was a captive. But he was a captive not of stone and iron, but of false belief. He was not locked in. He only thought he was. Of course, this is only a legend, but it is an extremely instructive one. So, friends, the invitation from that story is for us to consider that we are all living in some kind of prison. Some of us in one kind, some of us in another. Some of us live in a prison of lack, and some in a prison of remorse and resentment. Some in a prison of blind and unintelligent fear. And some of us are living in a prison of sickness. But always, my friends, always, the prison is in our thought and not in the nature of things. I can see you all thinking, wow, right? Wow, so that's part of the invitation for this week is to consider, where have I been thinking a particular way or thinking that I'm stuck in this particular area and I'm actually not, that I can actually go over to the door and open it and walk out and be free. Yeah, it's that easy. What's that?
Only 20 years later.
20 years later, yes. Sorry, didn't hear you. Yeah. So physicists will tell us that as we go beyond the realm, we're going to jump into some quantum field theory again, because Deepak talks about it in his chapter of the same name, which is The Magic of Attention, chapter 3, and that's today's topic. So he talks about how the physicists tell us that we go beyond the realm of subatomic particles into the cloud of particles, which makes up the atom, which makes up everything in reality. That when we try to examine and understand these particles, which have fancy names like quarks and bosons and leptons and so on, and these particles are so small that we can never measure them. There are no instruments that are available or will ever be available that will measure the minute smallness of these particles. In fact, they are so small that we can only think about them. Now, there is another very, very interesting fact about these particles that we want to pay attention to. They've never been seen. So if you can't observe these subatomic particles, if you can't see them, then how do we even know that they exist? What? And the answer is, we know that they exist by the evidence of the trails they leave behind in particle accelerators. Wow. Right? How do we know our thoughts exist? We know that they exist by the trails they leave behind, right? In our lives, is what I was thinking. Oh my goodness. Wow. So, in places where they are doing research on subatomic theory, one can see and even photograph the trails that these particles leave behind. And by looking at the trails, one knows that they did, in fact, exist. But there is another very interesting facet to these particles, and that is that they come into existence only when we observe them. What? So if we are looking at a quantum field, I know we're doing that all the time. If we're looking at a quantum field, every time we look at it, these particles blink into existence. And every time we turn our attention away from them, they disappear into a void. Okay, you with me? So no? So these particles blink on and off like little lights in a dark room. Now are you with me? Okay. The dark room you can imagine as infinite, unbounded space. And the particles that blink into existence do so by the mere act of our putting attention on the field. And so that's the magic of attention, right? When you put your attention on the field, they come into existence. When you're not putting your attention on the field, then they are just a probability amplitude in the field of all possibilities. So that's what I mean when I say what you think about is creating your experience, right? Yeah. Name it and claim it. Each particle is a wave at the same time, and it's a wave until the moment of observation. So anything you want for yourself in your life is possible. So what is it? You have the power to create. You have that within you. What do you want to create? It's time to collapse it into form, isn't it? So a wave is not restricted to any one location in space or time. A wave is a diffuse thing. That's why it's called a probability amplitude in the field of all possibilities. It defines the statistical likelihood of finding a particle at a certain place at the time of observation, which means the time of attention. I know this is mind-blowing, right? Wow, what? So it is attention that transforms the probability amplitude, the wave, and the probability distribution for a possible measurement as a function of time. Attention takes that probability amplitude and brings it into material existence just by the mere act of observation. And that mere act of observation is, of course, putting your attention on it. Wow, so a particle is literally created by you and me through the act of observation. Before it was observed, it was just a mathematical possibility, a probability distribution for a possible measurement as a function of time. Still with me? You guys are in the cosmos, aren't you? Whoa, dude. But consider how magical this is. It's the quality of our attention that is bringing a certain probability amplitude in the field of infinite possibilities into our material existence. What you think about, you bring about. What are you thinking about? And you know what? I don't care what you've been thinking about up until now. What are you going to do with this new information, right? Or this information that you're being reminded of? What will you do with this now? I mean, we are creators. So I'm going to choose the good thoughts. I don't know about you, right? And if you can't get to good thoughts, pick up a spiritual book. And this Creating Affluence is a great book to pick up and just open up and read, and it will transform you, and you can move into a different mindset. So that's why we want to be in a mindset of wealth, because what we think about, we bring about. What we focus on, we become. Thoughts, where focus goes, where our thoughts go, energy flows, yes? And so I love that. Where energy flows is whatever you're focusing on, and whatever you're focusing on is going to grow. It's just the way it works. So your life is controlled by what you focus on. I'm going to say that again. Your life is controlled by what you focus on. What are you focusing on? What do you want to focus on instead? Fun. All right. Let's have some fun, girlfriend. Me too. And Reverend Diane, we're going to have some fun. Fun. Enneagram 7s. So focus on where you want to go. The call is to focus on where you want to go. The call is to focus on what you would love to experience in your life, not on what you fear or what you don't want. Because, boy, we can really describe what we don't want, can't we? I mean, like, we can create that picture out of nothing. But why would we do that? Why don't we create what we want out of nothing instead? Abracadabra, I create with my word, right? So do you want to achieve extraordinary results and fulfillment in your work, career, mission, retirement, in your families, in your relationships, and all of your life? Yeah, right. If you do, then you need to get laser focused on what it is that you actually really, truly want, and create that crystal clear vision of where you want to go. Our imaginations are powerful. You know, we are so creative, all of us. I'm looking at you all, and you've got hairstyles, and you've got different glasses or no hair, but it's still styling. You've got your outfits. Thank you for wearing outfits today. Much appreciated. Everyone is clothed, and you match. You mostly match. It's my sense of humor, right? You match. You look great. You're creative. You chose these clothes and had them in your closet, and then you decided that's what you were going to wear today, and you got your matching shoes and cute little socks, little mermaid socks over here in the front. Yeah. You guys are creative. What are you focused on? So energy flows where attention goes. We need a clear vision that has purpose and meaning behind it. Once that's in place, we focus our energy on it, and we become so focused on it. We become really into it, right? In tuned with it, and amazing things begin to happen. This is when you start to be guided to different people in your life, and people show up. You get a phone call, or there's some event that you attend, or suddenly you have this conversation with someone, and it's like the universe opens up for us. We get insights that weren't available to us before. We run into people who seem to be put on your path to help, or you overhear a conversation or stumble upon resources that will further your plan. Friends, that's the secret of how energy flows where attention goes. So what happens if we're always picking out flaws or paying attention to the negative aspects of life? Thoughts, well, focus, where your focus goes, energy flows. So when you ascribe to that and you're always picking out flaws or paying attention to the negative aspects, you're going to get more of that. Oh, fun. No, not fun, right? No, thank you. So developing a wealth mindset involves choosing gratitude and appreciation over criticism and negativity, which leads to absolutely attracting more of the things you can appreciate in your life to be grateful for. Yes, please. Now, I have a question for you. When you look in the mirror, do you see your beautiful smile? Or do you instantly notice that you're starting to age? Both. That ship sailed. I love you guys. Right? It's a good question. So that's our invitation. There's so much laughter. That's our invitation. Homework for this week is every time you look in the mirror, smile. And then say, you've got a great smile. Every time. So, next time you're in a new situation or environment, you can practice this idea of focus, and where your focus goes, energy flows way of thinking. If you're outdoors, you can notice the cool breeze or the smell of nearby flowers. If you're inside, try to spot interesting decor or architectural styles. If you meet new people in this situation, ask thoughtful questions and listen deeply to their answers. Focus on at least one personality trait that you admire in each person you talk to, and see how that goes. How do you feel when you leave that situation? How does it differ from other situations in your life? Now, I want to remind you of a few practices that you can use to help focus your energy, and these are meditation. So if you think you don't have time for meditation, believe me, you have even more time. You need to make more time. I'm a strong advocate for making the time for meditation, and there's honestly no excuse. We have so many opportunities for guided meditations. There's like 100 different apps these days. There's Insight Timer, there's Calm, and I mean, you probably can tell me different ones, but they have guided meditations. There's YouTube, and you can go and have like a 5-minute focused meditation where you come back to the source of all creation, where you come back to your true self, which is beyond the thinking mind, and you can really get centered and anchored in that, you know? There's no excuse to not have meditation, even if it's 5 minutes a day. It's essential for us and for our focus to allow ourselves to train our minds, So powerful. The second is exercise. So exercise is definitely a healthy, a great component for a healthy lifestyle, but it's also an ideal tool to focus your energy. So a lot of people get these groundbreaking ideas in exercising, right? Whether it's walking a little bit or whatever it is for you, everyone is going to be different. The brain, when there's exercise taking place, you are focused and there is a creativity that occurs in your brain that actually magnifies and increases the timing of what's going on. Music is another one. How many of you love music? Yeah. So we're hardwired to enjoy music. When we hear music we like, our brains actually release dopamine and we get happier. Music expands our cognitive range and helps us increase energy and focus and can lead to impressive insights and breakthrough. Listen to music, my friends. Listen. So the last thing I want to talk about today before wrapping it up is something that I'm calling the blue Tesla theory, also known as the yellow car theory or the red Jeep theory. So if we change what we think about, when we notice what we notice in our surroundings will change. I call that connection between our thoughts and attention, the blue Tesla theory or the yellow car phenomenon. So when was actually the last time you saw a yellow car? Do you remember? When was the last time you saw a yellow car that wasn't a taxi? Maybe last week or last month. When you leave here today, you're going to see a ton of them, and I want to hear from you. I just saw a red car. Text your friends. Let us know. Post it on Facebook. Friends, we always see more of what we're thinking about. It isn't that certain things start happening more frequently in our lives than other things. We're just able to see more of them because we're more aware about them. Every day, millions of objects, words, concepts, and feelings are presented to us, and we become more aware of some and less aware about others. We're only able to see, hear, and observe just a handful, the handful that we wanted to see more of. So I just took over your thinking. Sorry about that. Sorry, not sorry. You're going to see some yellow cars, yellow trucks, whatever, yellow vehicles, let's call it that. And maybe some blue Teslas, too. I brought that up, didn't I? At least one, yes, in the parking lot right now. So that's actually a thing, right? So there's a term for it. It's called the Bader-Meinhof phenomenon. It's actually scientific. You're going to see the things that are in your awareness. So if you only see negativity in your life, that's what you've been looking for. And you're going to keep seeing it because you keep looking for it. If you want to see forgiveness in the world, you must want to look for it. And once you do, you'll see it all the time. If you look for generosity once, you'll begin to see it all the time. This isn't something I made up. It's backed by science. It's a way that humans work. So humans actually work this way. Why not take advantage of it, right? Let's do this and think more about the thing we want and imagine how creative we are and think about what it is that we want to create for ourselves and our lives. You have to want to see things, and those things will want to see more of you. So Wayne Dyer observed, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Wow. Back to mindset. It's just the way it is. It's one of the ways we are wired. So let's put this to work this week. When was the last time you experienced bliss? What is bliss anyway? When was the last time you used the word bliss in a sentence? Yesterday, good. Well, your homework assignment for this week is to use the word bliss in your vocabulary this week. Now, when was the last time you said, I'm a mighty money magnet? Oh, it was a little bit earlier. Keep saying that. I'm a mighty money magnet. It just feels good. And when was the last time you considered the wealth of good in your life already? Try this on. I'm wealthy. I'm rich. Repeat after me. I'm wealthy. I'm rich. I'm wealthy. I'm rich. I'm wealthy. I'm rich. I'm wealthy. I'm rich. Now turn to someone next to you and say, you're wealthy. You're rich. And turn to someone else and say, you're wealthy. You're rich. And turn to someone else, as many people as you can. You're wealthy, you're rich. Don't get the two mixed up. You're wealthy, you're rich. And then turn back inward to yourself. I'm wealthy. I'm rich. And now how about just wealthy? Just say the word wealthy. Wealthy. Rich. Rich. And try this at home, my friends. You will not be disappointed. So in conclusion, it's not I'll believe it when I see it. It's I'll see it when I believe it. Wealth is a mindset. We attract what we are focused on. This is the magic of attention. And it's not magic. There's a science to it. It's in this book. It must be true. Deepak talks about the science of it. And I know that we believe in science. And so you can actually get a copy of this book in the back if you would like to. Now I want to change our attention a little bit here. And I'm going to invite Travis to come up and prepare for our closing prayer. And I'm also going to share something with you as he's getting ready for that. So I know that many of us have felt fear and sadness and hopelessness as we've been informed of the outbreak of violence that is leading to the death of so many people in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. So I believe we experience these reactions because we care deeply. And it's the result of our waking up to our shared humanity and this deep understanding that because we are spiritually connected, trauma experienced by those in one area of the world can be felt by others. It can be felt by us, but what do we do? What do we do? There's that sense of helplessness, isn't there? So the first thing is to find a place within ourselves that is centered in the peace that passes human understanding. Jesus said that we could have that inner peace. Ernest Holmes gave us a meditation to help us get there, and I'm going to read that to us now. Now let us seek that kingdom in the quietness of our own heart, in the solitude of our own mind, this stillness of our own spirit, and in the love we bear one another, as we embrace each other. Look long and earnestly into each other's eyes and see there the fire kindled in heaven. Listen to the heartbeat of each other in humanity. Until we hear the great rhythm of the universe resounding in us. Lord God of heaven and earth, infinite and eternal, and ineffable beauty, we are that which thou art, and thou art that which we are. now and forevermore. Amen. The next thing to do, if you are willing, is to comfort and support the Jewish and Muslim people you know. Maybe even the people you don't know. We may not be able to affect the course of history being played out in Palestine and Israel, but we can be a peaceful, loving presence to those in our area who may be unjustly criticized or threatened because of their ethnicity. The invitation is to take a stand for peace in your own neighborhood and not allow others to be bullied or bothered. St. Francis wrote, "Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace." And Eddie Watkins Jr. sang, "I am the place where God shows up." And so taking that inward again, and wow, the guitar music that Travis is playing is really taking us to that place, isn't it? I know there is only one life. That life is spirit, and that life is my life now. And I'm so grateful that this presence of love is here. It is expressing itself in me, as me, and through me, just as it's expressing itself in, as, and through each individual here. And I know that in this moment, we are each connected. We are connected to that peace within us that passes human understanding. That means it cannot be described. It's a felt sense that is within us, and we are present to that peace right now. And we can send that peace out as energy out into the world. We can start by sending that peaceful energy into our body temple, into every aspect of ourselves that are here right now. And then we can send that peace out a little more to those who are next to us, to the right of us, to the left of us, behind us, before us. And then we can turn that peace up a little more and continue to send that peaceful energy up, 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 and out. Up into the edge of this building and out to the sides and to the bottom and down underneath the foundation of this building, which is touching upon Mother Earth, and out and up into the ethers, all the way up past the atmosphere and into space and into the other planets in the cosmos. Peace, peace, and more peace is mine now. And I express this peace with everyone I come in contact with. I see through the eyes of peace. I think from the thoughts of peace. And I am so grateful for this peace in my life. And I'm so grateful to know that as I go forward from here into my week, I have some tools, I have some homework. I'm practicing my meditation. There's no amount of meditation that is too small. And I realize that there are some areas in my life where I have been keeping myself locked in. And today is the day I walk out a free person. I am free. I am free. We are free. We are free to live the lives we've imagined. We are free to do and be all that we came here to be. I'm so grateful for this. I'm so grateful for this freedom that we get to experience. And I'm so grateful to know that even as we experience freedom and wealth, opulence, and affluence, that we can also be in prayer for our friends on the other side of the world who may not be experiencing that, who we know are not experiencing that in that right now. The great paradox of living this life. I'm just so grateful. I'm grateful, and I know that Spirit is expressing itself in all of our lives this week and beyond our wildest imagination. So with great gratitude, I can relax and know that this prayer is complete and it's already done. As I release it into the loving and creative action of the law, which always says yes. 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 And I allow it to be, and so it is.